clerical roles out there, which essentially requires us to do these menial tasks. Now, moving forward, AI, when I say AI lacks higher order thinking, what is higher order thinking? Let's get a little bit into those details. Three things are there: quantitative reasoning, analogical reasoning, and abstract reasoning. Quantitative reasoning is making informed decision. Like I said, decisions on consumer or political choices. കുറെ നമ്മൾ ഇലക്ഷൻ വോട്ട് ചെയ്യാൻ പോകുമ്പോൾ ഈ എല്ലാ പാർട്ടീസിനെ പല കാര്യങ്ങൾ കേട്ടിട്ട് നമ്മൾ ആൻഡ് ഒരു ലോജിക് വി മേക്ക് എ ക്വാണ്ടിറ്റേറ്റീവ് reasoned choice of opting for a specific party or whatever it is, or like choosing for a product based on all the information that we have. Analogical reasoning, as in analogically compare ചെയ്യുന്നത് ഇത് അതുപോലെ ആയിരിക്കണം എന്നുള്ളത്, ഇത് കണ്ടിട്ട് അതുപോലെ ഉണ്ട് എന്നുള്ളത്. So for example, flow of electricity through wires can also be analogically compared to flow of water pipes, flow of water through pipes. Electrons വയറിൽ കൂടി ഓടുന്നത് വെള്ളം പൈപ്പിൽ കൂടി ഓടുന്ന പോലെയാണ്. That is an analogical reasoning which AI cannot do. And abstract reasoning, I'll give a bit of details around what abstract reasoning is. And here's one thing: AI has something called as curse of complexity. Not AI specifically, but LLMs, large language models. What curse of complexity basically means is, so if you are from yesterday's talk, if you might have noticed, there are these larger and larger large language models that are coming out, like billions and billions and billions of parameters trained on such larger and larger data centers. But there's a hard limit. എത്ര വരെ ഇതിങ്ങനെ data center size കൂട്ടിക്കൊണ്ടു പോകും? You cannot basically cover the whole planet with data centers of graphics card and then say that, oh, we have found out a better AI. Or like you can take it into space and build data centers in space, put it in orbit, but then we have not reached a point where solar output of the panels can reach to a point where these graphics card are much more like, energy guzzling. Probably we can use AI to come up with better materials, which what Microsoft has done recently with their quantum computing, but that's a different conversation altogether. So AI has its limits. There's a wonderful research paper that has been, which takes this into account. So one example of abstract reasoning is this is a problem statement, right? Wherein each column, if you look at it, each of these individual columns have increasing, have dots increasing by one from top to bottom. So this column has like 5 dots, then it has 6, then it has 7. So likewise, this has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 7, 8. Right now it has 3, there it is 4. Of course, simple 5, which is your answer is 5, these dots. But an AI model cannot solve for this. It's a very trivial thing which even a toddler can do. I have a 4-year-old, she can solve for this very easily. A large language model cannot solve for this. Another example is, let's say you have a lot of complex connections going on here and there. So there are 3 houses numbered 1 to 3 from left to right as seen across the street. Each house is occupied by a different person. Each house has a unique value and each has the following attribute. Like Eric, Peter, and they like, and their favorite drink. Eric likes milk and he also likes photography. Peter likes water and he likes cooking. Arnold likes tea and he also likes gardening, right? These are the 3 things. Now, if you were to ask an AI large language model to make these connections, and this is the solution, this is the final outcome that is expected, like these, which I just stated, and you give these set of statements, a large language model cannot figure it out, right? So it's safe to assume, right? I've safely proven here that there are limitations to AI right now. Will this be broken? Yes, eventually it might be broken at some day. But then again, there will be limitations which human brain has evolved for millions of years to solve for, which is logical inferences. The reason why we are also scared today as to why AI is going to come and take all our jobs is because, like I said initially, majority of the jobs are menial clerical jobs which came into existence because you required some degree of intelligence to solve for it, but not a creative form of intelligence. And that is why, if you look at least the Indian education system, which is heavily influenced by the British system, by the Britishers who had set in place of writing an examination and then passing those exams based on a certain series of questions. That was designed from the perspective of manufacturing clerks to run the then British Raj, which essentially is a continuation of what has been the state since Indian independence. And this is a topic that is highly researched and spoken about as well. This is not my personal opinion, though. Now, and there was never a need to have for everybody to be an original thinker. എല്ലാവർക്കും ഐഡിയാസ് ഉണ്ട്, എല്ലാവർക്കും ഓരോ കാര്യങ്ങൾ ചെയ്യണം എന്നുണ്ട്, പക്ഷെ അത് ചെയ്യാനുള്ള ഓപ്പർച്യൂണിറ്റി കിട്ടില്ല until and unless, let's say, class system of in form of, let's say, you are from an Ivy League college like an IIT or a Stanford. Only those people will get those creative jobs. uh, you and I, who are coming out of a third tier college, we will not get those opportunities. That is what the reality is. And right, and where are we right now? We are basically undergoing an evolution, and that's what this is all about. Uh, the key is, now that AI is around the corner, it's going to take all those jobs. The key is to evolve along with the circumstance. We as humans are where we are as a species because we have a brain which we used to evolve to conditions and circumstances. And that's why we are the dominant apex species on the planet, or probably in the universe, until and unless we encounter aliens, right? So we need to evolve, right? Make use of that brains that we have, which we have been gifted to us. And how do we need to evolve? We need to develop higher order thinking. Like I said, AI cannot do abstract reasoning and all these things, and then mainly higher order thinking. That's where it's actually lacking. And what is actually higher order thinking? There are basically a couple of things that you can do. You have to, okay, any questions so far before I get into this? Okay, seems like all good. Uh, you have to be a first principles thinker, become an original thinker. സ്വന്തമായിട്ട് ഐഡിയാസ് വേണം. ലൈക്ക് ഒരു ജോലി എടുത്ത് വല്ലവനും ചെയ്തേക്കുന്ന ഒരു ഐഡിയ ചെയ്യേണ്ട ആവശ്യമില്ല ഇനി മുൻകാലങ്ങളിലേക്ക്. അതെന്താ ഇപ്പൊ ജസ്റ്റ് ലൈക്ക് യു സോ റൈറ്റ് നൗ ദ ഡയറക്ഷൻ വിച്ച് AI is going. Let's say if you are an entrepreneur, you have an idea, ഒരു ആപ്പിന് ഒരു ഐഡിയ കിട്ടി, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒരു പ്രോഡക്റ്റ് ഉണ്ടാക്കാനായിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു ഐഡിയ കിട്ടി. അത് ചെയ്യാനായിട്ട് വേറെ എഞ്ചിനീയേഴ്സിന് ഒരു പ്രോട്ടോടൈപ്പ് ഉണ്ടാക്കാനായിട്ട് വേറെ എഞ്ചിനീയേഴ്സിന് ഹയർ ചെയ്യേണ്ട ആവശ്യം വരില്ല. ഈ AI-നോട് ചോദിച്ച് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും. ഇൻഫാക്ട് ദാറ്റ് ഇസ് ഹാപ്പനിങ്. ദർ ആർ ലോട്ട് ഓഫ് സ്റ്റാർട്ടപ്സ് ഔട്ട് ദർ കോൾഡ് ആസ് നോ കോഡ് സ്റ്റാർട്ടപ്സ്. നോ കോഡ്, കോഡ് ഇല്ലാത്ത സ്റ്റാർട്ടപ്സ് എന്ന് പറയും. Wherein founders are those who do not know how to code. They don't know software engineering. They are just using these AI tools skillfully to prototype their product, put it out in the market, and see what its product market fit is, and then raise funds to build the broader product. ഇത്ര നാളത് പറ്റൂലായിരുന്നു. ഇതിനു മുന്നേ വരെ you had to have a team of engineers, or you had to, wherein what is happening is, rather than focusing on the problem statement that you're trying to solve for, you are having to learn a programming language to talk in the language of the computer first, implement that solution which you want to solve for, and then put it out in the market for the people. So that is where we are going in. Third point, read textbooks, not just for exams. Textbook വായിക്കണം. Like, one thing is, you cannot expect these additional skills to be taught in college. Colleges are meant for the more formal, foundational subjects. Like I said, AI does not have that higher order thinking and abstract reasoning. ഈ എല്ലാ ഇൻഫോർമേഷൻ മനസ്സിലാക്കിയതിന് ശേഷം, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ കുറെ കാര്യങ്ങൾ പഠിച്ചതിന് ശേഷം, ഒരു ഡേറ്റാബേസ് എങ്ങനെ വർക്ക് ചെയ്യുന്നത്, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ മാർക്കറ്റ് എങ്ങനെ വർക്ക് ചെയ്യണം, അതെല്ലാം പഠിച്ചതിന് ശേഷം ഫർദർ ഇൻഫറൻസസ് ഉണ്ടാക്കാനായിട്ട്, ദാറ്റ്സ് വാട്ട് യു ആർ ഗുഡ് അറ്റ്. So you need to have that fundamental understanding of what is their textbook-ലുള്ള കാര്യങ്ങൾ. Now, I said from the beginning, നമ്മളുടെ ഈ സെഷൻ തുടങ്ങിയ സമയത്ത്, എനിക്ക് ഒരു ഇരട്ട പേരുണ്ടായിരുന്നത് is for the reason എനിക്ക് കുറെ സപ്ലൈകൾ മേടിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട്. Reason, even though I had a lot of backlogs, one thing I used to do was, ഞാൻ എൻ്റെ ടെക്സ്റ്റ് ബുക്സ് വളരെ ഡീറ്റെയിൽ ആയിട്ടിരുന്ന് വായിക്കുമായിരുന്നു. നോട്ട് നെസസറിലി ഫ്രം ദ പോയിന്റ് ഓഫ് വ്യൂ ഓഫ് എക്സാം, ജസ്റ്റ് ടോപ്പിക്സ് കവർ ചെയ്യാം. അത് പഠിച്ച് തലക്കകത്ത് വെക്കില്ല. എനിക്ക് ആ ഒരു കോൺസെപ്റ്റ് മൈൻഡിലുണ്ട്. അത് വേർഡ് ബൈ വേർഡ് ആയിട്ട് പേപ്പറിലോട്ട് എഴുതാനുള്ള രീതിയിൽ ഞാൻ പഠിക്കത്തില്ല. അത് ഒരിക്കലും ചെയ്തിട്ടില്ല. അത് പണ്ടേ അങ്ങനെയായിരുന്നു. ബട്ട് ഒരു കോൺസെപ്റ്റ് ചോദിച്ചു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ വെൻ യു ആർ ഫേസിങ് എൻ എറർ, അതെങ്ങനെ സോൾവ് ചെയ്യാന്നുള്ളത്, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ അതിനുള്ള ഇൻഫർമേഷൻ എവിടെ കിടക്കണം എന്നുള്ളത്, അതെനിക്കൊരു ഊഹമുണ്ട്. അത് പിന്നീട് ഞാൻ പോയി നോക്കും. അങ്ങനെ ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ പറ്റണം എന്താണെന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ, ഇത്രയുമുള്ള ടെക്സ്റ്റ് ബുക്ക് അത് കുറച്ചേ നമ്മൾ ഒരു പരീക്ഷയ്ക്ക് വേണ്ടി പഠിക്കുന്നുള്ളൂ. പക്ഷെ അതല്ല കാര്യം. ആ ടെക്സ്റ്റ് ബുക്ക് മൊത്തത്തിൽ വായിക്കണം. വായിച്ചു കഴിയുമ്പോൾ ജസ്റ്റ് അതും കാണാപ്പാഠം പഠിക്കാൻ വേണ്ടിയല്ല, പരീക്ഷയ്ക്ക് വേണ്ടിയല്ല, അതിൻ്റെ ഒരു അബ്സ്ട്രാക്ട് ഐഡിയ കിട്ടണം ഇതാണ് സംഭവം എന്നുള്ളത്. അത്രയും കിട്ടിക്കഴിയുമ്പോൾ നാളേക്ക് പിന്നീട് എന്തെങ്കിലും ഫേസ് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ ഐ ജസ്റ്റ് റിമെമ്പർ ഐ സീൻ ദിസ് സംവെയർ എൽസ്. പോയി ഒന്ന് തപ്പിക്കഴിയുമ്പോൾ മനസ്സിലാവും ദിസ് ഇസ് വാട്ട് ഇസ് ഹാപ്പനിങ്, ആൻഡ് ദാറ്റ് ഹാസ് ഹെൽപ് മീ എ ലോട്ട് ഇൻ മൈ കരിയർ. ഐ ഹാവ് എൻകൗണ്ടേർഡ് സച്ച് ഇഷ്യൂസ് വിച്ച് I could double down back into what was there in my textbooks from college, and that has given me edge. Fourth, read research papers. You have to make it a habit to read research papers. And you have to rely on subreddits. എത്ര പേര് ഇവിടെ റെഡിറ്റ് യൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്? ഐ നോ വി ഓൾ വുഡ് ബി യൂസിങ് ഇൻസ്റ്റഗ്രാം, വാട്സാപ്പ് ആൻഡ് വാട്ട് നോട്ട്സ് ആൻഡ് ഫേസ്ബുക്ക്. റെഡിറ്റ് ഇവർ എത്ര പേര് യൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്? മീംസിന് വേണ്ടി നല്ല സ്പോട്ടാണത്. ഒത്തിരി മീംസ് കിട്ടും. Anybody who has used Reddit, feel free to talk back, guys. I mean, back in college, I know how seminars are quite boring. So I can understand if you guys are sleepy, and I just don't want you to sleep off. I think it's 8:30 already. Reddit ആരെങ്കിലും യൂസ് ചെയ്യാറുണ്ടോ? ഇല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഇല്ലെന്ന് പറയാം.
No, sir, I haven't.
Okay. Thank you, Adi. First and foremost, one more thing that you have to know is feel free to open up and talk. നമ്മളാരും എല്ലാം അറിഞ്ഞുകൊണ്ടല്ല ഭൂമിയിലേക്ക് വന്ന് പൊട്ടിമുളച്ച് വീഴുന്നത്. വി ലേൺ തിങ്സ്. പതുക്കെ വഴിയെ കിട്ടുന്നത് ഓരോ സ്ഥലത്തു നിന്ന് എടുക്കുകയാണ് ചെയ്യണത്. സോ ഇറ്റ്സ് ഓക്കെ ടു നോ നോട്ട് നോ തിങ്സ്. ഇൻഫാക്ട് ഓപ്പണിംഗ് അപ്പ് അബൌട്ട് നോട്ട് നോയിങ് തിങ്സ് ഇസ് ദ ബെസ്റ്റ് പാർട്ട് ഓഫ്. ഓക്കെ, we'll go into that later probably. Reddit.com എന്നുള്ള ഒരു വെബ്സൈറ്റ് ഉണ്ട്. ഇറ്റ്സ് അഗൈൻ എ സോഷ്യൽ നെറ്റ്വർക്ക്, ബട്ട് ഇറ്റ്സ് ആക്ച്വലി എ റിയലി ഗുഡ് സോഷ്യൽ നെറ്റ്വർക്ക്. I'll show the subreddits after this conversation. And finally, have an entrepreneurial mindset. What I meant by an entrepreneurial mindset is our original thinker. Like, ഒരു ആപ്പ് യൂസ് ചെയ്യണ്ട. ഓ, ക്യാൻ ഐ ഡു ദിസ് ആപ്പ്? എനിക്ക് ഒരു ആപ്പ് ഉണ്ടാക്കാൻ പറ്റുമോ? എന്നെ കൊണ്ട് ഒക്കില്ല എന്നുള്ള രീതിയിൽ, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഐ കനോട്ട് ഡു ഇറ്റ് എന്നുള്ളത് വിട്ടുകളായിരുന്നു. ഡോണ്ട് ഡ്രോപ്പ് ഇറ്റ് ഓഫ്. ബിക്കോസ് we are at a point in time today. If you look back to history, I think I'm going to go back to the example that was used by the day before yesterday speaker, wherein the speaker said college back when he was in high school, YouTube was just starting off. People who made it a business, made it their living, are actually quite rich today, right? And you guys are at a point in time in history where this new flux is happening, which is that drive towards AI. And if you can use it and start leveraging it, you will be in a position to actually make use of it best. And not just make use of it best, but also probably think of alternatives. And once you think of those alternatives, these tools can be leveraged to learn how to come up with those alternatives, as well as how to prototype those alternatives. You don't necessarily need to sit around, or the time taken to explore things has come down a lot. If going by just the example of AI Studio, I'll be showing a couple more tools after this. Okay, coming back to what is first principle thinking. How many economics students here? Can you just show of hands? Zoom show of hands on again. Economics or your economics background in general? Nobody? Okay, in that case, I'm going to skip this slide. Fine. Computer science students, I'm aware that computer science students are there. First principle thinking, I'm just going to spend some time explaining it here so that you understand what I mean. So when you're optimizing or designing an algorithm, look at the most fundamental aspect of it. What the steps that are there. Code എഴുതുന്ന പോലെ individual loops അല്ല. അതുപോലെ അതിന്റെ സോർട്ടിങ് എന്താണ്, സെർച്ചിങ് എന്താണ്, ആൻഡ് ഹൗ ക്യാൻ യു ഒപ്റ്റിമൈസ് ഓൺ ഇറ്റ്. ആ ഒരു ഏറ്റവും ഫൈനസ്റ്റ് ബ്ലോക്സിലോട്ട് മുറിക്കുന്നതാണ് ഫസ്റ്റ് പ്രിൻസിപ്പിൾ തിങ്കിങ്. One person who champions this a lot is Elon Musk, and his first principle thinking is what allowed him to have these many multiple successful startups. SpaceX and Tesla. I'm not going to get into the political side of things. I'm just purely focusing on his, you know, startup endeavors. So that's an example of this. In economics, again, market dynamics, analyzing the law of supply and demand. Uh, rather than assuming, let's say you're buying a packet of biscuit, ഒരു ബിസ്ക്കറ്റിന്റെ പാക്കറ്റ് കടയിൽ പോയി മേടിച്ചു കഴിയുമ്പോൾ അതിന്റെ പ്രൈസ് ഇത്രയാണ്. അതിന്റെ എന്തുകൊണ്ട് ഈ പ്രൈസ് എങ്ങനെ ഡിസൈഡ് ചെയ്തു, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ 5 രൂപയാണ് 10 രൂപയാണ്, കഴിഞ്ഞ മാസം ഒരു 5 രൂപയാണ്, ഈ മാസം 10 രൂപയായി, അത് എന്തുകൊണ്ട് അങ്ങനെ ആയി എന്നുള്ളതിനെ പറ്റി ഒരു ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ നമ്മുടെ മനസ്സിൽ വരാറുണ്ട്. ഓക്കെ, പക്ഷെ അതിന്റെ പുറകെ പോയി തപ്പി പിടിച്ചെടുക്കാനുള്ള സമയം നമുക്കില്ല. ബിക്കോസ് ഇത്ര നാൾ വരെ അതിനൊരു MBA വേണം, ഇനി അത് വേണ്ട. യു ക്യാൻ ഗോ ആൻഡ് ആസ്ക് എൻ AI ടൂൾ ആസ് ടു വാട്ട് ഇസ് ഇൻഫ്ലുവൻസിങ് ദ പ്രൈസ് ഓഫ് ബിസ്ക്കറ്റ്സ്, റൈറ്റ്? അത് അതിനുള്ള ഇൻഫർമേഷൻ തരും. അപ്പൊ അതെല്ലാം വായിച്ചു കഴിയുമ്പോൾ ടോപ്പിക്സ് മനസ്സിലാവില്ല, അതിനോട് തന്നെ കുറേശ്ശെ 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 കുറച്ച് ചോദിച്ചു പഠിക്കാൻ പറ്റും. ChatGPT എല്ലാവരും യൂസ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ടാവും, പക്ഷെ ChatGPT again is like very focused. And I'm not going to cover ChatGPT here because I'm quite sure നമ്മളെല്ലാവരും അത് യൂസ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ടോ. It came out in 22. It's quite ubiquitous right now. So okay, let's coming back to this thing. Using, and as I said originally, you have to start using those AI tools very actively. And I'm going to introduce to you here just 3 AI tools. Uh, Google Studio ഞാൻ കാണിച്ചു, AI Studio ഞാനിപ്പോൾ കാണിച്ചു. I'm going to show Perplexity and Notebook എല്ലാം, as well as Hugging Face yesterday ഇന്നലെ കാണിച്ചായിരുന്നത്. That was, I think it was briefly mentioned. Was there a demo around Hugging Face? Anybody, can you just give me an answer here? Because I was looking at the recording. Can somebody speak up? ആരെങ്കിലും ഒന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഹെൽപ്ഫുൾ ആയിരുന്നു. പിള്ളേരൊന്നും ഒരു മാറ്റമില്ല കേട്ടോ, ഞങ്ങൾ ഇതുപോലെയൊക്കെ തന്നെയായിരുന്നു. ഓക്കെ, കമ്മിങ്. I'll just stick to the program. Okay. I'm sure all of us are using Google search today, but there has been a trend shift right now wherein there is this new tool called as Perplexity. It's been around for almost 1.5 years now. 23 ലെന്തോ വന്ന സാധനമാണ്. What Perplexity actually is really good at is, hang on, I do have, what the hell? Okay. Right. Just a second. Something has happened. Give me a second, guys. Can you see my screen?
Yes,
Hello.
sir. It's visible, sir.
Okay. So Perplexity is this tool wherein searching, we took an example of how price of biscuit is decided. Let's just ask it. How price of biscuit is determined in India. മാർക്കറ്റും കൂടി ഫോക്കസ് ചെയ്യണമല്ലോ. സോ സീരിയസ്, അതിനുള്ള കുറച്ച് കാര്യങ്ങൾ അത് പറഞ്ഞു തന്നെ. ലൈക്ക് ChatGPT പോലെ തന്നെ ആൻസർ, ഇറ്റ് ജസ്റ്റ് ഗേവ് യു ആൻ ആൻസർ ജസ്റ്റ് ലൈക്ക് ChatGPT. But one thing which it adds, it connects to the references from where it picked it up, right? And why is it this? And it has you have a lot of these follow-up questions which you can ask. Are there any upcoming price hikes expected for biscuits in India, right? And why is this relevant is it gives you these references to research papers. Okay. I don't see any research papers here, but let's say you have a Government of India report that is coming out. Google will only give you the search results, but it will not give you a summarized answer along with pointing to what the specific statement influenced the decision. Now, when preparing for this specific talk, I used Perplexity itself to to search for whatever I just presented to you. Okay. Setting up LLM local agentic systems, how price of biscuit, what are the limits of scaling? Okay. So if you look at it here, I'm taking this example today because I want to show that research papers. So like I said, you have to start reading research papers. Um, so it's here, see GPU memory limitations, and it's pointing to a specific research paper, Zebra Logic. Okay. Uh, See, and this is the paper. ഇവിടെ ചെന്ന് കഴിഞ്ഞപ്പോൾ I saw that paper. Now, this paper is quite large. And just as, I mean, just as you guys, I don't have the time to sit and go through it. ഈ പേപ്പർ എല്ലാം വായിച്ചിട്ട് വരുമ്പോൾ ഒരു PhD എടുക്കാനായിട്ടുള്ള സമയം ഒന്നും എനിക്കില്ല. I have my life to carry on with. I want to just present. I have an abstract idea. I want to validate it, and I just want to collect the information and then, share it with you. If based on if what I'm thinking is right or not. That is also equally important. You have to first, you don't have to go with a bias that, okay, what I'm thinking is right, right? So, uh, and then once I have this paper, how do I condense this information? That is where the next step, next tool comes in handy, which is called as Notebook LM. Notebook LM, I don't know if yesterday's speaker covered what a RAG is, but I'll just briefly mention. It's called Retrieval Augmented Generation, RAG. I will expect you to take a note of it and just search through perplexity of what a RAG system is, right? Keep it handy. I'm not going to cover that. This is what a notebook LM is. So, എനിക്ക് അവിടെ നിന്ന് കിട്ടിയ കുറച്ച് സെർച്ച് ചെയ്ത് കിട്ടിയ PDFs എല്ലാം I'll just keep adding to this, okay? To as add as individual sources. So these are the PDFs. So, where's my downloads? Yeah. So in my downloads, I have these PDF. അതിൻ്റെ കാണിച്ച കുറച്ച് PDF ഞാൻ ഡൗൺലോഡ് ചെയ്ത് റിസർച്ച് പേപ്പേഴ്സ് ആ റിസർച്ച് പേപ്പേഴ്സ് ഇവിടെ ആഡ് ചെയ്ത് and I've added those things and you can start having a conversation with these research papers, right? So you have a summary of these ontology of like ഒത്തിരി സോഴ്സസ് ഉണ്ട് കുറെ ടെക്സ്റ്റ് ബുക്കുകളുണ്ട് അതിൻ്റെ അകത്ത് എവിടെ സാധനം കിടക്കണമെന്ന് സെർച്ച് ചെയ്യണം അതിനാണ് ഈ സാധനം ഉള്ളത് അപ്പൊ ഇതിനകത്ത് ഇപ്പോൾ ഒരു വാട്ട് ഇമ്പാക്ട് ഇറ്റ് മൈറ്റ് ഹാവ് അപ്പൊ ഈ സോഴ്സസ് ചെയ്യുന്നത് കറക്റ്റ് ആയിട്ട് തപ്പി എടുത്തോണ്ട് വന്നിട്ട് അത് എവിടെന്നാ കണ്ടതെന്നുള്ളതും കൂടി അത് കാണിച്ചു തരും ലൈക്ക് വേർ ഡിഡ് ഇറ്റ് പുൾ ഇറ്റ് ഫ്രം source guide. See, it's showing to a specific. So I can take a look at that research paper and validate if like, what it's telling me is correct or not. And I'll keep adding these as notes, right? Finally, I would highly encourage you guys to go through this thing. And so whatever it says here, if you think it is right, you can click on save to note, and that's how these individual notes come in. And after you have a note, you can go ahead and probably you can generate a conversation as well. So for example, uh, if I this is a conversation which I generated after I put through this. So this is a 21 minute of a conversation, which is generated by AI, which is basically like a podcast. ഒരു പോഡ്കാസ്റ്റ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ യൂട്യൂബ് വീഡിയോ പോലെ രണ്ടുപേരും സംസാരിക്കുന്നതാണ്. And benefit of that is I get a very quick summary of what I want to learn from a huge uh, subset of knowledge sources in a 20-minute audio, which I can listen to while I'm probably putting my daughter to sleep, probably cleaning my house or driving my bike, and then get a very rough idea of what is happening, make that mental image, come back and start digging through. Right, I'll just play the old
AI is the new electricity,
or that it's going to replace us all.
Right, exactly. Like AI is sentient.
Tasks.
Okay.
So they're worried about losing control over their work and ultimately, their professional status.
So
I'm not going to play the whole thing, but you got a gist of it, right? So you use perplexity to find a good summary of your statement of your whatever you're interested in. Find relevant research papers or sources like websites, bring it into notebook LM, start collating it, start adding the notes, and then from the notes you can also get something like a briefing doc, right? You click briefing doc or timeline. I would highly recommend you to go ahead and explore it. And why am I showing you this? So like I said, you have to have that entrepreneurial mindset. You have a product idea, you have something which you want to explore and solve for, like you want to know what the product market research is, right? These tools will help you do that, which was not something which you could not do, let's say 2 years back. You had to have an MBA to do this. You need to know, like, what are the publishing sources, government of India, which ministry puts out what paper, go through that paper and then, like, realize, oh, this paper is not, or this report is not relevant to what I'm searching for. That hard work has been just of, let's say, 3 months, or like an expert would take probably a week, right? That has been like bought down. So none of us are experts here. That has been just shrunk down to, let's say, a couple of hours, right? This whole presentation, along with the references in terms of like, that exact image showing the limitations and all those things, I just managed to pull it off in one day. And I'm not a researcher, I'm just an engineer, right? That's the power you have in your hands today. And this is where, so after you have these information collated, now you can rely on your abstract reasoning, higher order thinking, and your analogical uh, analyzing analogical reasoning, sorry, to take the next logical step. And this is where jobs are going today. You as an entity have to have those original ideas in your head. That is what is going to count in future. Your ability to say code in your expertise in, let's say, coding a specific programming language, not required anymore. കുത്തും കോമയൊന്നും correct ആയിട്ട് ഓർത്തിരുന്നതിൽ ഒരു കുഴപ്പമില്ല. The moment you start typing or just give it a prompt saying that, this is what I'm trying to implement, it will give you the code right away. We are using it actively, heavily. So, uh, like I said, only 50%, there are more areas to cover, but those will also get covered very soon. Uh, Okay, and one more tool is Hugging Face. Was Hugging Face covered for you guys yesterday?
No, sir.
No, okay. Okay. Uh, so Hugging Face is a website. Wait, Hugging Face. Wait, let's just. Hugging Face is a website where all AI models are published. Okay. You can download this Perplexity. Perplexity using the AI model, another Perplexity, DeepSeek R1. All these models are available for free to download and use. I would highly recommend you to rely on Perplexity, ask Perplexity, prompt Perplexity on how to use Hugging Face model. Maybe go through its tutorials, right? And then I have some exercises for you here, which I'll be sharing, and I would highly recommend the faculty to ensure that students take this. Wait, sorry. Yeah, I would highly recommend the faculty to go through these exercises, wherein use Perplexity to set up an LLM locally. So all these language models or ChatGPT, which we are aware of, they are actually paid services that are offered. So there are limits to it. You want to build a resume, there are limits to what it will show you. You can actually, today you are in a position where you can set up these LLM models locally on your laptop and then have a conversation free of cost forever as long as you want to, provided the language. So as yesterday's speaker pointed out, it has to have that information, that specific training period. Pre-training should include is till a specific date. Uh, so uh, these are the three exercises that I have for you. And why am I specifically asking you to set up an LLM locally? Back in the day, when you probably were, setting out to install a software for the first time on your laptop, I double click either setup.msi വെച്ചിട്ടൊരു software install ചെയ്ത് കഴിഞ്ഞപ്പോൾ you felt that gratification, right? That was quite a big deal at one point in time. As of that, as like it was at once upon a time, today setting up a large language model locally and having your own personal LLM running on your system downloaded from Hugging Face is the equivalent of installing a software like it as it was probably 15-20 years ago. So that is a skill which you need to know right now today, right? Because once you get that, you will start rolling into what next. There will be mistakes. തെറ്റുകൾ പറ്റും, ഡബിൾ ക്ലിക്ക് ചെയ്ത് ഇൻസ്റ്റലേഷൻ അല്ല, but you will rely on the tool to actually prompt and all. And one more thing which I would ask you to do is using, so I just showed you the AI Studio, Google AI Studio. They have something called as a prompt gallery. Let's just go back there. Yeah, prompt gallery. Okay, here you have a lot of prompts which actually teach you how to use Google AI Studio. So you just have to click through it, analyzing a research paper, XYZ is just, yeah, I think which is bigger, recipe list, city scavenger, unit testing. Yeah, unit testing. So these kind of individual prompts, just go through it, explore it, run around, click, explore it. And yeah, that's this thing. And okay, so far about AI, but getting hired, I think we are running out of time. Shiva sir, is it okay if I were to take like, 5 more minutes?
Okay.
Guys, are you okay? I know you guys have to go and sleep or probably do something better here. But if you guys are okay, I can continue. Else, I'll just rush through it. Are we fine?
Yes, sir. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. And one of the most important thing is you need to build your brand, right? ഒരു ജോലിക്ക് ചെല്ലുമ്പോൾ if you look at yourself, you are not TCS or Infosys. TCS is a services company which sells software services to its customers. Likewise, you also are an individual startup. നമ്മൾ ഓരോരുത്തരും നമ്മളിൽ തന്നെ ഒരു ചെറിയ സ്റ്റാർട്ടപ്പാണ്. നമ്മൾ നമ്മുടെ സർവീസസും നമ്മുടെ സമയവും നമ്മുടെ സ്കിൽസാണ് നമ്മൾ വിൽക്കുന്നത്. Just like a TCS or an Infosys or a bank is selling financial services, you and I, we are selling our time and our services to a potential customer, which is our employer. And just like a startup or an enterprise or a company, which they have a brand, right? A brand value. You have to set up your own brand, which is very important. And you have to set that brand up on sites like LinkedIn, GitHub. You have to write blog post and medium post, which again is easy to do today. Back in my day, so I originally said, right, I had like 5 offers in my hand when I was getting out of college, even though I had backlogs with me. Reason why I had that was, although I never went to a project center, never project center പോയിട്ട് project ചെയ്തിട്ടില്ല. ചെറിയൊരു ഐഡിയ എടുത്ത് സ്വന്തമായിട്ട് ഇംപ്ലിമെന്റ് ചെയ്ത് കംപ്ലീറ്റ് ചെയ്തിട്ടില്ല. Whatever be it. But I did implement it on my own and I put that out on GitHub. So wherever I went, I never had a resume in my hand. കൈ വീശിയാ ഞാൻ പോയേക്കണം എല്ലാ ഇന്റർവ്യൂസിനും. ഞാൻ ആദ്യമായിട്ട് ഒരു പ്രോപ്പർ ഇന്റർവ്യൂ കൊടുത്തത് ലിങ്ക്ഡിനിൽ കയറേണ്ട സമയത്തായിരുന്നു. അത് 8 റൗണ്ട്സ് ഓഫ് ഇന്റർവ്യൂ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. ബട്ട് അതിന് മുന്നേ വരെ ഞാൻ ഇന്റർവ്യൂ ചെയ്തിട്ടില്ല. ഓൾ ഐ ഡു ഇസ് ഐ ഷെയർ മൈ ഗിറ്റ്ഹബ് വിത്ത് ദം. ആൻഡ് ഗിറ്റ്ഹബിൽ അവരെടുത്ത് നോക്കി കഴിയുമ്പോൾ ഓക്കെ ദിസ് ഗൈ ഹാസ് ഡൺ ലോട്ട് ഓഫ് കോഡ്. ഇന്നിപ്പോൾ ഗിറ്റ്ഹബിൽ ഷെയർ ചെയ്യാൻ എന്നിട്ട് കാര്യമില്ല, ബിക്കോസ് ചാറ്റ് GPT ചോദിച്ചെടുക്കാൻ പറ്റും. ബട്ട് കമ്മിങ് ഡൗൺ, ബട്ട് ഇഫ് യുവർ ഐഡിയ ഇസ് ഒറിജിനൽ, then that will be considered. And then write post, medium blog posts and medium post. ഫേസ്ബുക്കിൽ എഴുതുന്ന പോലെ ലിങ്ക്ഡിനിൽ പോസ്റ്റുകൾ എഴുതണം. LinkedIn is a tool which is very actively used by recruiters, heavily use ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. And if you have a very good LinkedIn profile, recruiters will reach out to you. And the skills that you need to showcase in that profile in your post is all these AI tools which you came. ഒന്നുമില്ല, ചാറ്റ് GPT എടുത്ത് പോയിട്ട് ഞാൻ ഇത് കണ്ട് ഇതാണ് എനിക്ക് ഇതിനെ പറ്റി ഒന്നൊരു കുറച്ച് തള്ളിത്തന്നെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ചാറ്റ് GPT എടുത്ത് തരും. Go and paste it on LinkedIn, keep dumping there. But of course, you have to have some material, keep reading. You have to read a lot. Solve data science problems on Kaggle. Again, Kaggle is a really good website, which just like Hugging Face is a competition site on Kaggle.com. Kaggle.com, where you have data science questions, as well as you also have problems for the competition. See, there are multiple competitions. You have models here, right? Again, use Perplexity or ChatGPT to ask how to navigate through Kaggle. Figure it out. Even if you don't participate in a competition, look at the sources. For example, Titanic thing, machine learning. Look at the solution for, see, you have overview, data, and then code, right? Multiple people have submitted their submissions, their solutions. Take a look at a couple of them, understand what it is, what all are the models out there. Explore it like this. You have to do these kind of explorations on your own, and then implement and propose your own solutions and build your brand online. Okay. And finally, work with startups. If you expect yourself to be hired for a pay right away, that is not going to happen, because you do not have a brand. As freshers, you do not have a brand, which I also did not have. What I did was I went to a startup which I was quite aware of, and how I became aware of the startup is by, again, tech clubs. ഞാൻ tech clubs like കൊച്ചി പൈത്തൺ ഉണ്ട്. ഐ ക്യാൻ പ്രോബ്ലി ഷെയർ കപ്പിൾ ഓഫ് ടെക് ക്ലബ്സ് വെച്ച്. അവിടെ ചെന്ന് ഐ യൂസ് ടു അറ്റൻഡ് സെഷൻസ്. ഒന്നും മനസ്സിലാകത്തില്ല, വായം പൊളിച്ചാണ് ഇരിക്കുന്നത്. എന്താ പറയണമെന്ന് കുറെ ടോപ്പിക്സ് ഇങ്ങനെ തലയുടെ മേളിൽ കൂടെ പോകണം. നോട്ട്സ് എഴുതിയെടുക്കും. ഐ കം ഹോം, ഗൂഗിൾ ഇറ്റ്, ഫിഗർ ഔട്ട് ഓക്കെ വാട്ട് ദേ ആർ സെയിങ്. മനസ്സിലായില്ലെങ്കിൽ ഐ ആസ്ക് ദോസ് പീപ്പിൾ ആൻഡ് അവർ പറഞ്ഞു തരും എനിക്ക്. അങ്ങനെ കുറേശ്ശെ കുറേശ്ശെ കേട്ടതിന് ശേഷം അപ്പോൾ അവിടെ ചെല്ലുമ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ സ്റ്റാർട്ടപ്സിനെ പല പല സ്റ്റാർട്ടപ്സിനെ കാണാൻ പറ്റും. അതിൽ ഒരു നല്ല സ്റ്റാർട്ടപ്പ് എനിക്ക് തോന്നിയത് മനസ്സിലായത്, ഞാൻ അവരുടെ അടുത്ത് എന്നിട്ട് പറഞ്ഞു, ഐ വിൽ വർക്ക് ഫോർ യു ഫോർ ഫ്രീ. യു ഡോണ്ട് ഹാവ് ടു പേ മീ ഫോർ 6 months. Give me a problem statement, something which you want to solve for. I will solve it for you. അങ്ങനെ ഞാൻ ആദ്യമായിട്ട് ശമ്പളം ഇല്ലാണ്ടാണ് ഞാൻ ജോലി എടുത്തത് ഒരു 6 മാസം. ബട്ട് ദാറ്റ് ഗേവ് മീ എ ലോട്ട് ഓഫ് നോ ഹൗ. ഫ്രീ ആയിട്ട് വർക്ക് ചെയ്യുന്നതുകൊണ്ട് അവർ നമ്മളിട്ട് നല്ലോണം പണിയെടുപ്പിക്കും, പക്ഷെ അതിൽ നമ്മൾ കുറേ കാര്യങ്ങൾ പഠിക്കും. ആൻഡ് ദീസ് ആർ ദ തിങ്സ് വിച്ച് ഗേവ് മീ എ ലോട്ട് ഓഫ് എഡ്ജ്, ലൈക്ക് മച്ച് as thing. And finally, to finish it off, stay hungry, stay curious, stay hungry, stay foolish, an original statement which comes from Steve Jobs, Apple. But you have to stay curious, right? Constant learning. It's not all doom and gloom. Just because AI is around the corner does not mean that എല്ലാം തീർന്നു പോകും, നമുക്ക് ജോലിയൊന്നും ഉണ്ടാകത്തില്ല. No, like I just pointed out to you, AI has its limitation. We are at a point in history where we all can become millionaires by just trying to solve for the problem statement, and we have an easy access to information. Google only collated information that was for like 20 years. Now you have summarization of information, and do not accept defeat. Why I said that is, ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ പലതും ഒക്കെ കിട്ടൂല. ഇത് വർക്ക് ചെയ്യണമെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ് ഒഴിവാക്കി കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഒഴിവാക്കാനേ നേരം ഉണ്ടാവുള്ളൂ. തോൽവി സമ്മതിച്ചു കൊടുക്കരുത്. You do not become a loser when you lose. You do not become a failure when you fail. You become a loser or a failure when you accept defeat. തോൽവി എന്ന് ആരും മുദ്ര കുത്തുമ്പോഴോ വിളിക്കുമ്പോഴോ തോക്കുമ്പോഴോ അല്ല തോക്കുന്നത്. തോൽവി സ്വീകരിക്കുമ്പോൾ തോറ്റു കൊടുക്കരുത്. Thank you. That's it. Any questions?
Sir,
Hello,
Yeah.
sir. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are quite audible, Sumar. You can go ahead.
Sir, as AI continues to transform industries, what emerging job roles and skills should professional focus on developing?
So, as I just pointed out, right, you need to have that original thinking, wherein when you have these random questions in your head, biscuit in the price, right? How do you decide price? When you go through those material, is you realize that, hey, there is a corner in the market which I can probably fill in based on what I am aware of from my local area, right? And this is touching back to the first principles as well as the higher order thinking, which I just showcased. Might not have been very clear or legible right away, but as I said, just do those exercises which I just shared. You will start understanding as to what needs to be done. Yeah. Basically, you need to learn to how to prompt and how to have good ideas. That's it. Just do
hello,
those
sir.
exercises.
Hello,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah.
Sir, how can I apply Hugging Face models to my specific project or problems? Like Hugging Face models.
Again, this is a good exercise you can practice. Just throw it in Perplexity. Okay, give me an example of what is the project that you want to work on. I will not show you how to directly go and use Hugging Face right now. I'll just prompt Perplexity. Yeah, there you go. New thread. Okay, tell me what is the project that you have in mind. Any random project will do. Else just let me go ahead. How to use Hugging Face. It just gave you the code as well. Pretty much like what ChatGPT would have done, but it also is pointing to relevant resources. A quick tutorial on Hugging Face. So you go to the YouTube and
I use.
hey, you just got it. Just do this. We do not have time here to actually set up a workshop and go through how to use Hugging Face, what all are the things that are there. But since you asked, I'll also show you one more thing. In Hugging Face, you have something called as tutorials, yeah, in docs. Yeah, tutorials. There are tutorials. There is it auto train, not this light eval, dataset evaluate diffusers. There is a specific thing called as hub library. Wait, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? There are tutorials here. Where are my tutorials? Tasks, posts. Okay, I think you need to log in for this. But in docs, there is this core ML library, transformers. Yes, this thing. Yeah, let's just go to transformers. Just go through these docs. That'll guide you through. If you
Okay,
have
sir. Thank you. Thank you.
specific questions, just prompt it to Perplexity or ChatGPT. Wherever you get your answer, just go take it on forward. Yeah.
Sir, one more question also.
Sure.
Then how can I evaluate the performance of Hugging Face models for my project, like methods, metrics, tools for assessing?
So one thing that you require there is you need good data set in your hand.
Okay.
So the first problem there is, and you might not necessarily have data sets at hand. What you need to do, what you need to figure out is which model out in Hugging Face has used a data set that is nearly similar to the problem statement or the data set which you want to solve for. അതായത് ആ മോഡൽ ട്രെയിൻ ചെയ്തേക്കുന്ന ഒരു ഡേറ്റ സെറ്റ് has properties of your problems that you're looking for, or look for these data sets here. Tutorials, yeah, there you are. Tutorials. So basically go through the tutorials, it'll just show you. There are Hugging Face has APIs, test train, split, evaluation. A tutorials allowed under. If you go through it, you'll get it. We don't have time basically to go through all those details.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Sir, can I ask you one question?
Please.
How can individuals prepare themselves for the evolving job landscape in the post-AI era?
I think I already answered that question. Somebody else also answered that. I think Sugmar asked that question, right? It's the same.
Okay, sir.
If we don't have anything else, let's wrap it up.
There are some questions in the group chat. Could you answer
Oh,
some?
sorry. Yeah, please. Meeting chat. Okay. Dr. Don Vimal, thank you for the session. So in a nutshell, what are the top roles that AI will not be able to perform next couple of years? Like I said, all roles will exist. Just that the niches of what the roles will require will change, which is you won't need, you will only require uh, pure analytical reasoning. So if going back to our original conversation report, so all roles are going to get impacted, right? One role that will be around is probably prompt engineering, because as new models keep coming in, prompting is a very crucial. So if you saw, if in all my demos which you see, which I showed, prompting is a critical aspect here. And prompt engineering is something which is gonna become ubiquitous as, like, browsing, web browsing is just considered as something very normal. I hope I've answered your question, Don. Shaiju, how does relying on AI for coding impact developers' problem solving, especially copy pasting without understanding? That is a brilliant question, Shaiju. Uh, it does have an impact. But do we have to do we have to be aware of all the nitty-gritties? Initially, yes, right? When you're starting out, you have to be in your career as a software engineer. Like I said, uh, you have to, it comes down to what your priority is. Let's say if you are an entrepreneur trying to solve for, trying to build a product, you don't need to be aware of it. If you're a software engineer, if you are a CS graduate who is starting your career out as a software engineer, then that copy pasting is not a good idea. But having said that, once you have solved for a problem, right, using a for loop or whatever is the construct available, variable, you used a for loop, all those things, and you built your problem statement solution. The next time you have to solve for a nearly similar problem statement, it doesn't make sense for you to sit and again do the same thing. And in software engineering, it's been 10 years since I started my career. A lot of the times are we are solving for the same problem in a different form using boilerplate code. Now, what I mean by boilerplate code is using some kind of a predetermined framework, Django, Flask, if you are into Python, or there'll be these web frameworks. Python, if you are from PHP background, Laravel, these frameworks, and you just keep connecting the dots again and again and again. It's all the APIs and the same story over and over and again. Necessarily adding value or necessarily growing you as an engineer, right? At that point, once you have learned something or once you have figured it out, next successive time, the same problem statement comes across your way, throw it at AI, get it done, right? Use your time to increase your knowledge. As I pointed out, it will come down to whoever is making those decisions. At the end, everything is going to boil down to decision making. And you have to build experience faster than your competition to be in a position to take right decision at that moment in time, right? So yes, copy pasting is bad the first time you're encountering a novel problem statement, or when you're learning something new. Let's say you're learning a new programming language, then don't rely on copy pasting, but do prompt AI to understand what needs to be done or what it is. Read the explanation. But once you've learned it, move on to a new platform and start relying on copy pasting. That's what I would say. That's a good question.
Yeah. Thank you, Derek, for answering my question brilliantly. I
Yeah.
I wanted the new generation, the future coders, to know about this because as a tech lead who reviews code on a daily basis, I'm seeing many amateur coders who just simply copy paste it from ChatGPT or any AI tool without understanding the requirement. And when you ask them like, "What is this code? What does it do?" they don't have any answers. So I wanted one insight from your side so that these
Yeah,
future
that's
coders understand the importance of it. Thank you for answering it. And good to
yeah.
see you after a long time.
Yeah.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, hi.
Sir, as you know, the AI is actually really into the military. So, my question is, will AI eventually replace the human? What do you think?
Like I said, decision making, everything boils down to decision making in future thing. There will be a human in the loop for the kill chain. So in military terms, this is called a kill chain. Let's say they've decided to kill a specific target, Osama bin Laden. Let's go take him out. That decision, starting from, let's say, top of the president all the way down to the final person who's pulling the trigger, is called a kill chain. Now, that pulling the trigger aspect is probably what AI, robotics, and everything is going to take on. Drones are already doing that. But there will be a human in the loop to, click OK to go ahead and kill that, execute that kill chain. So, yes, humans will be limited, but the kill chain will require a human in the loop. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, sir.
Hi.
So some specific tasks or areas where AI fails short, highlighting the unique value of human expertise. What are the areas?
So, like okay, I think you want it from the perspective of job roles, right? Like from a daily normal job where AI fails. Is that what your question is? Because I gave you an example of like a very trivial example. And even when our demo was going on, right, I stopped, if I started having a conversation with you guys and the entire, it lost the context completely. It forgot what it had told me before. So that is an example right there. Can you be a little bit more specific as to what exactly is the task that you're interested in? And again, this is another task which I gave an example of. Lot of connections here and there. It will fail straight away. Or if you want an example from where I work, as at LinkedIn, we had this scenario wherein we developed an application, put it into production, turned on the traffic, and a week later, we see all these applications are like crashing left, right, and center. There are no error logs, nothing. So you cannot use AI to like, copy paste that error and try and figure out what is going wrong where. There's nothing going wrong. It's just basically applications are just vanishing. The processes are just vanishing from the system. And at that point, we started digging around what is happening, and we finally figured out it has to do with how B trees work in databases. So if you are from a computer science background, you know your SQL queries, right? Select star from EMP table XYZ. When you run that select star, at the end is going and operating on a data structure called as a B tree. And that B tree has a very specific way it operates, and that's the reason why you see, and that has to do with how, that's the reason why SQL queries look the way they look. And the application logic was triggering a very specific corner case within that B tree, which caused queries to get hang and the application were getting killed left, right, and center. Now, to figure this out, we did not have error logs. We did not have uh, uh, transactions were dropped. That's the only data which we had. You take this and put it into AI. It's nearly it's similar to what you have, this abstract reasoning. Eric likes milk photography and this thing. So something is failing somewhere. Why is it happening? AI cannot do that because broader context is required. AI does not have those limits. At which point we have relied on AI to collect those information as in to understand what a B tree is, how a B tree functions. Those summaries is something which we use, but then to make that logical inference, okay, this specific way of executing a query is probably what is contributing to uh, the outcome which we are getting to see. So that's, I don't know how else to convey this to you. I'm not sure if you're from a CS background. I hope I've answered your question.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Mhm.
Is there anyone else want to ask questions? Sir,
Hi,
thank you for
yeah.
the insightful presentation. We are truly grateful for sharing your valuable insights. Your expertise add a great value to the topic. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Kiran K of first year English for vote of thanks.
Good evening. As we draw today's enlightening seminar to a close, I extend my heartfelt vote of thanks to all present. The session themed Evolution of Job Roles and Skills in the Post AI Era, What AI Can't Do and Where Will Human Fit In, has been both insightful and thoughtful provoking. First and foremost, I express our deepest gratitude to our esteemed speaker, Mr. Derrick Joseph, Senior Software Engineer, Production Infrastructure Engineering at LinkedIn. your in-depth exploration of the evolving landscape of job roles, and your unique perspective on the irreplaceable human qualities that remains beyond the reach of AI have truly inspired us. Your expertise and real world experiences have provided us with a clearer vision of how we can navigate and thrive in this post AI era. I would also like to thank the organizing committee and the technical support team for their impeccable effort in making this event seamless and engaging. Your dedication and hard work behind the scenes have played an essential role in the success of today's seminar. Finally, thank you to all our participants for your active engagement and insightful questions, which have enriched our discussion. You have presence and enthusiasm reflect our commitment to learning and innovation. Thank you.
Thank you, Kiran. As we move towards the end of the international seminar series, TechSphere, we come to the realization that knowledge indeed has no end. In this whole journey, we witness a information symphony that will undoubtedly value add to each of our professional and personal life. A big thank you to our esteemed speakers, audience, and organizing team behind the scenes. On behalf of all the organizers and speakers, I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to each one of you who been a part of this event. Your energy, participation, and curiosity have made this international seminar series truly memorable. We look forward to seeing you again at your future events. Before I say goodbye, I would like to share one final thought from a great leader, Albert Einstein, who once said, "The important thing is not to stop questioning. Curiosity has its own reason for existing. So keep asking questions, keep learning, never stop growing." Thank you once again for your time and attention.
Thank you, Derek. Thank you all.
Recording stopped.